Welcome to the Ultra World Podcast, the soccer fan's voice from the stands, with your hosts, Marc and Sean Castles, coming to you from Radio Waves Studios in New York City. Now, let's kick off the show.
Hi again, everybody. I am Marc alongside my co-host Sean Castles, and we have gone to extra time on Liverpool. This is part 2 about the Reds.
Well, may have been a jinx and brought 2 ties to them instead of 2 wins. That's all the more reason to savor the championships, right? That's they just won the Premier League in 2025. So I'm not going to feel too bad for them. They just won it with Arnslot just after they let Klopp go. So let's hear from Alex about what it was like winning the championship.
What was it like winning the championship last year? How was that? What was the celebration like? I know it's not as great a year, but you just won a championship. What's that like?
I mean, last season was a crazy season because I think that I and many supporters, we did not expect the team to play as well and as consistently well as they did. And it was almost like a state of happy disbelief. And when they actually sealed it, the celebrations were incredible, and it was just so much fun to be a part of that.
It was an amazing
celebrate
season.
with the team, yeah.
The Jota summer, losing him is brutal, and I think that's what's still kind of carrying over with the club. They're saying like he was just so important, and like it just the heartfelt sadness, and then immediately after there is just and you see the community come together and rally around a player they love.
Yeah, you see it, and I mean, grief at the loss of someone important to you is a real thing, and Salah, many of the other players, they played with Jota for years. They were all incredibly close. You can see it in the actual team, how close all of the players are. And dealing with that grief, it could actually be affecting how they play this season. But, pretty much every game, and when I was there a couple weeks ago at Anfield at the 20th minute, everyone stands up and starts singing Jota's song.
Really?
And we sing it for several minutes all the way through, and we do that here as well.
All right, I got to record that.
There's a culture of remembrance and of cheer. So, it's good.
And Sean, we've been talking about embracing the tradition, trying to get fans on your bandwagon. No better way to get a bandwagon jumper aboard than bringing home some hardware.
The sweet elixir of a championship brings people right onto the bandwagon and into the bowels of Liverpool. Chris, Alex, the brothers Hollander, Justin, they all made the case of why we should be Liverpool fans. Why should someone pick Liverpool to be a fan of?
Well, I think you have to know something about the history of the club. You have to know something about the character of the city and the people of the city. Because every time I've gone to Liverpool, I have been greeted as a friend. People see you in 3 dimensions. They treat you like a real human being. They're just wonderful people. They also love to sing and have no inhibitions. So you go into a bar, there's live music, and everybody's singing along. It's just a gas. So it's a lot of fun. That's what I love about Liverpool. I also love their, you can't keep a good Scouser down attitude. If it ain't right, they're going to say it ain't right and fight for what they think is right. And I just appreciate that attitude because I think Americans can be too passive.
Mm-hmm.
So,
There's passion here. You feel it at the 11th Street Bar here, too.
Oh, definitely.
Alex, what team are you a fan of and why?
Liverpool Football Club. Years ago, just started watching Premier League with a friend, in college, and he said, hey, choose a club to support, it makes it more fun. And the community of supporters in sort of the pub where we were watching for Liverpool was the most fun. And so I was like, how about Liverpool? And that sealed it, and it's been about community ever since.
Give me your elevator pitch, or why should someone be a fan of Liverpool?
Look, we have the best chance that anyone can come up with. I mean, everyone else steals our chance. And then other thing, just the fan base, no matter winning or losing, we've had some tough times in the past, and there's always just laughs and cheers and pints being drank, and just the history there is just amazing as well, and it's just a great team and a great fan base to be part of.
I'll definitely take creativity and a good time.
Yeah, I mean, look, we kind of marry history with, modern flair. It's brilliant product to watch. And then really what tops it all off is the community. Wherever you go, you see someone wearing a Liverpool hat or Liverpool jacket, and you hit them with a, you'll never walk alone or go Liverpool, and they, hit it right back at you. And you see it all over the world. It's a bond that, transcends nationalities, religions, anything. And you see it in the team too. So I wouldn't hope to support any other club, and I think everyone should support our club.
This podcast was started because I wanted to take a toe dip in football. It's a little daunting, and trying to pick a team for just casual fans. Why should they pick Liverpool as their team?
So I mean, there's a certain ethos to how Liverpool play. Like, it's hardworking, it's attacking, it's at its best aggressive and free flowing. Right now, it's not been at its best. So it's like, the sell is the sell is also going to be about the communities you can form in it, because there's a lot of great places to watch Liverpool in the U.S. There's a lot of great places to watch Liverpool in New York. I think there's a lot of great places to watch a lot of the Premier League teams in New York. I think the thing that makes Liverpool special is just kind of like a certain ethos of also, the community service parts that we do, the You'll Never Walk Alone thing, and actually trying to make that more than just like, a gimmick, but actually trying to help others and going hand in hand with that as part of the ethos of the club.
And, Sean, the winning's great, but you can't win without great players. And everybody's got their favorite. We've heard all about Mo Salah. Obviously, Steven Gerrard is a name that comes to mind. For me, though, as a fan of a certain band from Canada, my favorite Liverpool Red of all time has to be Ian Rush. Has to be. All-time leading scorer, as it turns out. Probably the best Welsh player until a guy named Gareth Bale came along. And obviously, because of the Rush tie-in, he did wear number 9 for most of his career. Probably should have been either 21 or 12, though.
Well, we did ask everybody who their favorite player was. It went the whole gamut from Mo Salah to Florian Wirtz. We got Chris and Alex and LA even talking about with a little Virgil van Dijk. Let's hear what they have to say. In terms of if someone's going to be a fan of Liverpool, who would you suggest that they become a fan of as a player?
Well, of the current crop, I think right now Florian Wirtz is the most fascinating to watch, the most fun to watch. But, I started out loving Alan Hansen, and I was only listening to him as a pundit on TV at that point, and then discovering his history with Liverpool after it. And I loved Jan Molby, and I loved Kenny Dalglish, and I loved Steven Gerrard, and yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of players over the years, and I'm a fan of the team. I'm a supporter of the team, and I have favorites, but they're not like overriding my love for the team as a whole, ever.
Either your favorite Liverpool moment or a deep cut of a player that you really like, and tell us a little bit about him or the game.
I mean, Roberto Firmino for years was one of my favorite players. His skill on the ball, his ability to draw away defenders and open up lanes. He could score amazing goals. He could also just slot a ball over to Mane or Salah. And the way that they played together was a truly amazing thing to watch.
Favorite player?
Virgil van Dijk.
Why?
So, like I said, I went to go watch the game knowing nothing about the team in July 2019, knowing nothing about soccer in general, and watched the game. Didn't get back into it until that became my COVID hobby, was learning about Liverpool and watching the games, and he was the player I remembered. I just thought he was so calm, cool, and collected, and I really enjoyed watching him play.
And you just hit on something that we're really trying to get with this podcast is people who don't really know soccer, who are looking for something to do, looking for something to be a part of. Why would you suggest people coming out to the bar, getting into soccer or football? Why would you suggest that?
Yeah. Again, it's that global community, right? It's outside of just a U.S. sport. I also think soccer fans are friendlier, and I was really self-conscious coming in. I never played or watched soccer growing up, and so I was like, oh, do I get to be a fan of this? And everyone was so welcoming and they're excited that you're excited. And I actually kind of wish she's holding the table right now, but I wish my friend was out here, because she's one of those people who did not watch soccer, and I was like, come hang out with me and watch soccer. And so now she comes with me every weekend too. And but yeah, it's just, I think it's a really welcoming community, and it's cool because you can go anywhere in the world and watch soccer.
We've been hearing throughout the infancy of this podcast about COVID and how soccer or football was a great way for people to overcome the loneliness of COVID, to find their football fan. It was the lone bright spot. I remember in New York City, there was the sheds that were put up everywhere, and they'd have the TVs outside so people could still gather to watch the games outside. And I remember that for the Yankees, and a lot of the people here talked about how 11th Street Bar and O'Hanlon's and other bars did something similar so people could enjoy the games during this tough time.
Yeah, it's interesting, too, because if not for COVID, pickleball would not be as nearly as popular as it has become over the last few years. But getting back to soccer fandom during the shutdown, there's a guy who is a Middlesbrough ultra fan, had been going to games home and away. His streak hit 1,400 straight matches just a few weeks ago. I learned from the BBC. It's about 30 years. The problem is you've got the poo-pooers who want to pee all over the parade and say, well, wait a minute, he didn't go during COVID. I don't know. What do you do with that streak, Sean?
That's some BS. I'm going to not say the full ul and it on there, but that's some BS because he had no choice. He couldn't go. So keep that man's streak alive. That streak should be intact. I am offended on his behalf there.
Well, Middlesbrough, Nick, you have Sean Castle's 100% support that your streak remains intact.
That's right. And we're going to hear from Justin and a few of the other people about what it was like during COVID at the 11th Street Bar. During COVID, I hear a lot of COVID stories about the bars being shut down, and yet soccer still brought them together. Do you have anything there?
I mean, so actually physically where you're standing right now on the sidewalk, there was they had outdoor seating. So basically we were coming here and watching every single match, even in the dead of winter, and freezing our ass off to watch Liverpool. And that was kind of an interesting time because Liverpool went on a run of 6 straight home losses, which is something that doesn't really happen to Liverpool at Anfield because Anfield usually serves as a great advantage. It hasn't been a great advantage for us this season, by the way. But Anfield usually serves as like a kind of a fortress for Liverpool. And during the pandemic, when we were all seated outside, it wasn't. We kept losing games. And I think the most annoyed I've ever been was when we lost 2-0 to Everton. It was 25 degrees out and kind of icy and snow covered, and I'm just sitting there fucking losing my goddamn mind because of a Calvert-Lewin penalty. That 5 different things go wrong before he actually is even fouled, and I just couldn't.
You guys are outside here, set the scene. You guys, is there we're standing outside.
There were
the
TVs.
bar.
So you see where this is cocktails and Guinness. Yeah. There were TVs hanging out there. There was a speaker hanging out this way. Where we are, they had one of those big sheds. The sheds basically had a bunch of space heaters, but there's no space heater strong enough for that. And and the other TVs were on. Basically, if you wanted to have a drink, if you wanted to grab a beer, you had to walk inside. Put your mask on, walk inside, walk up to the bar, order your beer, get your beer. You had to get a bag of chips with it because they had to serve you one food item.
Yep.
And then you'd come back outside, and then you have to come back out, and then you come back inside and have a drink. But basically, it was just out here. So basically, from about November through March, it was agony watching games because of how cold it was.
That's true fandom. Sitting here in the cold, even in a loss. Enjoying there. I like that you could recall it, and I see a glaze look over your eye of pain.
It's the other thing going through my head is I think it was Ola Aina who scored for Fulham in a match that they won 1-0, where Liverpool just did not look like 11. It looked like 11 players we'd never met before. And it boggles the mind. I think on that day, 2/3 of the people I know decided they never wanted to see Naby Keita play another game for Liverpool.
I love that. You can't have great highs without the really tough lows.
And Sean, we're listening to Justin allude to space heaters, and it got me thinking about Bodo Glimt's home Champions League group match. They beat Man City 3-1, and I'm just reading right now as we record this episode that the Sky Blues are actually reimbursing the players, are giving money back to the fans who made the trip to Norway, braving temperatures in the upper teens and low to mid-20s, and it got me thinking, Peyton Manning never did that. The Colts Hall of Fame quarterback apparently had a record when kickoff temperatures for Indy games outside were 30 degrees Fahrenheit or below, something like 1 in 8 as a record. That's one win against 8 losses in frigid weather. Very odd.
Well, as we know, a great way to stay warm is to crowd together or be inside in a communal event like at 11th Street Bar.
Mm-hmm.
So, each game, I like to imagine, is its own story. It's a plot yet to be unfolded. And Chris and Justin told us some fun stories of how they made the experiences at the 11th Street Bar just a little more special. Do you have, and take your time answering, a little fun story about either 11th Street Bar or experience at an Anfield game that just kind of is a little enjoyable?
So when we were 3-0 down to Barcelona, and the replay was at home, and Mo wore that because he couldn't play that day, that never give up t-shirt. Bruce Grobbelaar, former Liverpool keeper, came to the bar, and he asked us, is it okay if I come to the bar? And he came with a little entourage, and I gave him, the membership gift for the year, and we had a little chat. He had done a visit at the bar, and I said, I don't know if you remember, and he went, oh yeah, I remember you. But anyway, that's a longer story. But at the end of the match, he said, could I make an announcement? I said, sure. And he stood up on the table and he said, thank you for letting me watch the match with you. I felt like I was at Anfield. So
there's no higher praise. There's absolutely no higher praise. It's a really special, even when you say it's Burnley and it's not fully crowded, it's still a pretty special atmosphere in there.
Oh, it is special. Like I said, because we're buddies. We see each other all the time, and it's just a great thing.
The football family there.
One of the things recently, it was a match we lost against Chelsea, but basically I told a bunch of friends that we were doing a canned food drive that day, that if they donated $500 to the food bank before the match, I would come. I would show up in a full kit. People ended up donating around $1,500. So not only did I show up in a full kit, I had boots and shin guards on too.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. I have something in the back of my head that we may be doing in a future live thing that I might turn to you and say, hey.
Yeah, when you said I had something in my head, I thought you were picturing me in a full kit.
I'm picturing you in a full kit,
and I was going to tell you that the image is far worse than you think.
And Justin has a full kit because he played soccer and he still plays soccer. Because what many people may not know is that there are leagues all over the city for people to join, from super hardcore leagues with ex-D1 players to, well, they played really hard, but maybe there's no slide tackles and I'm trying to get into it. I actually thought of hey, I'm enjoying soccer. I'd like to maybe consider it. And no. I get my knee torn out. I would get slide tackle. I have no idea what I'm doing. It's just a terrible idea. I didn't even do Zog Sports back in the day.
I'm going to tell you a funny story. So the last time I played soccer was a media game at Red Bull Arena. And before that, we had one at Giant Stadium before they moved the Red Bulls. And they might have still been the Metro Stars at the time. So the first one, I decide I'm going to be the goalie. And I go, and I had just torn my rotator cuff, but it wasn't hurting me that day. So I'm fine. Let's go do this. And I'm in the big goal, diving around in pregame, making all kinds of great saves, like highlight reel saves. They were phenomenal. 5 minutes before the game's about to start, they roll out the little mini goals. I'm like, what are those for? They said, oh, these are the ones we're using. I said, no, you can't use it. I've been diving around like a fish out of water. I have to play goal. And I had the equipment. I had gone to Birkenmeyer's in Hackensack to buy goalie gloves and the pads and the shoes. I had everything. You want to talk about a full kit. I looked like Shep Messing Jr. It was incredible. Anyway, they let me use the big goal. We wound up getting smoked because the other team was able to defend the little mini, basically a hockey-sized goal.
You kept the regular goal and they kept the mini. You were like,
it was a charity game. What I didn't realize is that they were filming it to use on a halftime feature. So I got horrified on an MSG Network halftime feature that showed me just giving up goal after goal after goal into the big net. It was horrible.
I need to find this video.
But the last time we did one at Red Bull Arena, which is now Sports Illustrated Stadium, that went much better. My buddy Craig Carton, who's back on the air in New York City, actually wound up the star offensive player of the game. And I think we eked out like a 7-6 win or
a win's
something
a win.
like that. But I still have my goalie jersey, which is awesome. I have two now because I had one from the Metro Stars days and one from the Red Bulls days. But yeah, still have the full kit, still have the pads, still have the gloves. Haven't had a chance to use them in a little while, and I'm not sure I'll ever use them again.
Well, we can always we can have, as I'm wearing a jersey today, we can have kit day. You and I come in with our full kits there.
Absolutely.
Let's let Justin tell us a little bit about what the leagues are around the city here. Did you ever play soccer when you were younger?
Yeah, I still play.
Oh, you do?
I still play. Yeah. Yeah, I played my entire life. I love playing. I love playing the sport, and that's kind of what drew me into being a natural football fan is the fact that I've played it for so long. So
I'm going to dig on that thread a little bit because I played when I was really little, did not play later on, and I am fascinated with the New York soccer sports scene because to me it goes really hard. Like I could never do it.
So that we have a team for LFCNY. And we started playing again this year, and the league we were in this fall that we signed up for, we didn't really kind of scout it for the talent, for the skill level and talent level. So there's two problems there. First off, we were playing against a bunch of teams that all knew each other and played together for a while, and all of us know each other, but really haven't played together. And the other one is all these teams were so much better than us. So we were just going out every night in the cold and just getting fustigated.
It's outdoors too in the winter.
It was outdoors, yeah. But we start playing again on Monday in a league that I think is going to be closer to our level, and that'll be nice to not go out there and lose to a bunch of people who played Division I soccer together.
Okay, I need to, because we don't have anything in there. What is the supporter leagues like?
So it's not really a supporters league. It's just like a NYC footy. So it's like what we played the last league we were in was Metro Soccer, which is like a pretty serious operation. And I played in a lot of those leagues when I was younger. It turns out though that I was much more mobile and better when I was younger. So
who would have think?
Who'd have thought that age and the ravages of age make you slower when you play sports? But we were playing in a different league that's organized by an operation called NYC Footy. Who it's kind of great that actually you just get a lot of teams of people who are meeting in a variety of different ways. Some of them are work, some of them are teams where just people meet each other by signing up as free agents and decide, hey, I kind of like you, and they keep playing together. For us, it's been using the supporters club to field a team, and I think that's kind of fun for us. It's it's just another way to connect people to actually each other and to connect all of us with our to a sport beyond just watching it on TV, where we're actually hey, let's try to play this. Let's see let's try to recapture why we love this, which is I have fun doing this, and because I have fun doing this, I have fun watching this.
And how many days a week does that?
It's once a week.
That's still a lot. That's still getting out there. Is it a weeknight?
It's a weeknight. We play on Mondays.
And for those who, because again, I know nothing about this. I'm just diving in.
Yeah.
How does someone who comes to New York City is I actually want to not only get involved in the sport, but get involved in joining a league such as this? How would they do so?
There's a lot of those leagues. I would just Google soccer leagues in your city. There's NYC Footy, Volo Sports. There's a bunch of other ones that I've played in that I can't remember the names of. But you could just find free agent teams and you just hop around. Find one you'll eventually meet some cool people and be able to start your own team.
Thanks for that, Justin. And Mark, let's pivot over to rivalries.
Yeah, Sean, a few episodes back, we heard about how Everton and the Toffees faithful hate the color red, obviously referring to the Merseyside rivalry. But you know what? It's interesting. There's a little less animosity on the flip side of the coin. Now, they do all acknowledge Everton, but you have to feel the internationality of the fan base leads to other teams being more hated. And in fact, when you talk to some of the fans of Liverpool, Man U kept coming up as the team that makes them see red.
That's right. Shots fired, Man United fans. Who is Liverpool's biggest rival, and why should people not root for them?
Even though recency bias would say City, but it's got to be United. Just like Manchester United, a deep rivalry, long historied rivalry. People shouldn't root for them because they actually cut wages for their support staff and kitchen staff, actually, famously.
Really?
Yeah, they cut wages. to
Well, they're scooping up all these.
Well,
other
they're
players.
scooping, spending millions of pounds in the transfer market, and so Jim Ratliff, I don't know, I wouldn't support him.
Who would you say is Liverpool's biggest rival, and why should I not be a fan of them?
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, I guess you just have to go with Man United, just the close proximity of the teams together and the history of the teams together. But just obnoxious fan base, just terrible team overall. Old Trafford is one of the worst stadiums that is in the Premier League, and all of their Premier Leagues from the past are because of some cheating scandals, I would say. So, no real history there. No, I'm just
they don't
joking.
even play in Manchester.
Yeah.
I'd echo that, and then I'd say Everton. And the reason to not support Everton is because they're, our chant is "You'll never walk alone." Their chant is "Boo." So if you want to watch good football, you want to support a good team, Liverpool is the one for you.
And Sean, as we record this episode during the week leading up to the NFL's conference finals, and of course they'll decide who gets to play in Super Bowl 60. Geez, I'm old. You talked to Kyle about your shared love for a certain franchise that, quite frankly, and we're just spitting facts here, hasn't been to the big game since way back in 1969. And of course, we're referring to football and not football, but you talk about both.
I'm sure you watch other American sports too.
Yeah.
You watch American football. What makes soccer different and drew you to that, or football different?
I would say, it really runs deep, the passion and, being in New York, I'm a Jets fan for football and
Me too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's brutal.
It's brutal, but it really is deep in the heart. People support with their heart, and if Liverpool lose, my whole weekend is altered. If Liverpool win, I'm the happiest. I kind of lose myself for 2 hours, and that's kind of different compared to watching a Jet game or watching
brutal
the
to watch
Knicks.
the Jets.
Yeah, and it's I love the Jets, but it's it doesn't really touch the same heartstrings that Liverpool does, and it's it's just fun. It's just really it's something else. It's something, and to be able to share it with a bunch of people as well, it's awesome.
For people discovering football, just like us on this Ultra World podcast, soccer is a fascinating new culture to immerse yourself in. But it's an old culture. It's been around for over a century and has thrived without Americans. So while we avoid preaching assimilation here on the Ultra World podcast, Chris Andrade pointed out, and she had some poignant words about keeping the sport pure and enjoying it for what it is and not Americanizing the game.
It's important to me that Americans don't change the sport, that they take the culture as it stands and embrace it rather than trying to Americanize it. I really do not want the sport to be bastardized. It's very integral when you go and watch it there, where the people who grew up around the grounds, who have the season tickets, are supporting. You get a different window into it, and you see that you can't just, if you destroy that culture, you destroy the sport. And I'm afraid we're on that path, and I really hope Americans can find a way to meet the sport the way it is and where it is and not change it.
What then is your hope for the World Cup experience then this summer coming to America? If your dream scenario of how Americans embrace it, what would you hope happens?
I used to love the World Cup, but I am totally angry that they have expanded the competition to include so many extra teams, because the players' careers are getting cut short already by probably as much as a decade for meaningless competitions, meaningless extra games. You've got the Nations League now, you've got the Conference Cup, you've got the extra UEFA Champions League, Europa League games, and now you've got the Club World Cup, and you've got it's too much.
These guys got a lot of miles on their legs. I mean,
Exactly.
It's amazing that they hold up.
And that's why there's been so many injuries, and that's why right now leagues across a lot of leagues, and especially in the Premier League, a lot of teams have a lot of injuries. It's too many freaking matches, people.
Yeah, you guys just lost Salah to the AFCON Cup for a couple weeks.
Oh, it was more than a couple.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Anyway, but yes, it was. It's just, and other teams lost 2 and 3 players, but
And Sean, on the subject of Americanization, probably more the owners than the players infiltrating the world stage. Notably, since we did mention the Jets earlier, their owner, Woody Johnson, has both his hands in the Crystal Palace cookie jar these days, and the Eagles, at the moment we're taping this, 13th on the table.
They're 8 points back of Liverpool, who are currently 4th in the standings. And, Liverpool has a very interesting zodiac chart. So we got our house astrologer, Scott Tejerian, to give us the deets. So starting us off with Liverpool, Scott, what does the chart say about Liverpool?
Okay, so Liverpool, the date I have there is June 3rd, 1892. And so on June 3rd, 1892, the sun, like Mark, was in Gemini. So, so Liverpool is I would describe that franchise, and I really know nothing about Premier League soccer at all. I mean, I've heard of these teams, but I know nothing about their history. But I would think that Liverpool is, as the Twins, they're going to have the fans are going to have a dualistic experience of what it means to be a Liverpool fan. Sometimes it might feel like really exciting and fun and gregarious, and other times it's very serious. And just the whole demeanor of the fan base can change on a dime. The moon is most likely in Virgo. If they were founded really, really late at night, then it would be Libra. But assuming they were founded during the day, the moon was in Virgo. So emotionally, they're very harsh, very critical, very analytical. They're very knowledgeable. They know a lot. I would assume that this fan base knows a lot about their team. They're very knowledgeable. It might be somewhat even shocking to some of the players and coaches about how much the fans know about this team and the players on the team and the history of the team. But so on one hand, it's like, oh, wow, cool, you're really knowledgeable. On the other hand, it's like, I wish you didn't know so much about the team, because they're over-analyzing and they're very critical. How do those two sound to you guys?
They sound good. I mean, again, Mark and myself are also diving into this, and that's why we're doing this exercise for fun. So it'll be kind of up to our audience here. But Liverpool are the champions, and to be honest, in our discussions with Evertonian fans and people from Liverpool, that Everton is really the team of Liverpool, and a lot of people who are Liverpool fans are more international because they are champions. They are usually really good. They're usually in the mix. I think this past year they were supposed to really cruise through the Premier League, but they crashed out of the FA Cup pretty early, and then they met up with eventual champions PSG, and they started up in the first leg, and then had a really crushing loss at home. So I could see that kind of both sides showing up there, definitely in terms of the team. So I would say that because they are kind of like a bit like the Yankees of their fans are used to winning. Their fans are used to them putting in money. Even if Liverpool is not a destination town like Los Angeles or New York or London, they're still one of the meccas of international soccer.
This has been the Ultra World Podcast, the soccer fan's voice from the stands, with your hosts, Marc and Sean Castles. Our executive producer is Sue Zizza. Marc and Sean Castles are co-producers. David Shin is our master engineer. Assistant producer Avery Gehrig, and I'm Alicia Antwine. To be a guest on the Ultra World Podcast or learn all about sponsorship opportunities, send an email to ultraworldpod@gmail.com. Be sure to follow the show on all the social media platforms at Ultra World Pod. Copyright 2026. All rights reserved, Ultra World Podcast, LLC.